What's going on, guys? Welcome into a special edition of Beer's Daily Fantasy Six Pack. Had to record one more video before I head off to Nashville. And what are we talking about here today? Want to do a quick video for the RotoGrinders basketball game. If you didn't know, having an RG party in Nashville, there will be a collection of some athletes, some non-athletes, some guys I never heard of, getting together and playing some basketball. And I thought, hey, what the hell? Let's do a six-pack video for the RG basketball game. So that's exactly what we're going to do here today. So cheers, little brewski here to get us going. And the obvious question, why am I not playing in this game? Well, first of all, let's start with this. A lot of this for your boy leads to a lot of this, leads to a lot of this, leads to shortness of breath. I don't need to be out there doing all that. Instead, I'll be here making my picks for the game. We have assigned DFS prices to these guys as well. Before I get into the plays, I'm going to give a few honorable mentions. Guys that didn't make the cut. Notorious, probably the best player on the floor, just couldn't afford him. Noto, love you, buddy. Nothing negative to say about you. The price just too high. Could not go there. Stevie, my man, my dog, stick with NASCAR. When a guy comes out and says, terrible draft pick when he gets picked, not a good sign. Couldn't go with Stevie. And last of all, Eric Crane, my buddy. All you got to do is watch the tire video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out Eric Crane through the tires at a FanDuel final. Don't know if this guy can get up down the floor more than 2.5 times in the game. So limited minutes there, limited production. So Crane will give an over-under of, say, 3.5, 4 minutes in this game. Just not enough minutes for me to get excited about the production. So without further ado, let's jump into things here. Let's start out with some value. We're going to roll with RotoGrinders founder, Cam McMillan. Now, nice value here on Cam. Nice cheap prices here. My hope is, hey, we get some narratives here. Cam, if you didn't know, last year in this game, pretty much exploded his foot. It looked about the size of a football when he was done here. So this guy's going to come in, have something to prove. Something on his mind. Is he on a minutes restriction? That's my worry here. Does coach unleash him? Let him play full minutes and really allow him to channel his inner Joakim Noah, Jason Williams. This guy's a huge Florida Gators fan. I'm thinking he ends up channeling more like Lee Humphrey here. So hoping for minimum production here. Hoping this guy's foot doesn't explode once again. He can make it through the games. Cam, nice value here to lead us off in the six-pack. All right, let's get to the old guys section. Let's get to some of the dinosaurs in the game. Some of the guys that are my age, the OGs. Let's start with my boy Head Chopper. So Chop checks in a little bit more expensive here than Cam. Not much expensive. I'm not expecting a lot here from a guy that won $1 million. What the hell does he care about this basketball game? Chop, why the hell are you playing in this game anyway? But try to do some digging, dig up some stats here on Chop. Unfortunately, the records don't go back far enough. This guy was in high school about 40 years ago. So no numbers to go off here. But what I want, Chop, give us the rec specs. I want to see some Kurt Rambis and obviously a heavier, shorter version of Kurt Rambis. Wind, definitely going to be an issue here. And word is Chop used to be a good football player. So hoping maybe we get the second coming of the fantasy nomad. That's right, go back to the original RG Hoops game. But Chop, I think he can do enough. Hopefully doesn't fall out of this game. Hopefully doesn't die of a heart attack out there. And hopefully use some of that $1 million on some training here and some aerobic activity, getting ready for this game. Chop, don't let me down, buddy. Second pick here in the six-pack. All right, the middle-age section continues here. We're going to go with our media director. That's right, Dan Bach, our next pick here in the six-pack. So Dan is your basic middle-aged white guy floor play, the guy you see at the YMCA, just hitting threes, practicing his free throws, doing the old Mikan drill under the hoop. That's Dan. So that I don't expect much here. I expect the floor. Maybe he hits a couple threes here. I have no idea how the hell this guy was named a captain, but here we are. Nice mid-range played. It's boring. It's vanilla. It's powder. It's Dan Bach. We're moving on to our next play. Now, next guy. Minimum price play. I think there's some value here at minimum price. Bare minimum across all the major sites. We're going to go with Big T, Tony Niehaus. That's right, minimum price. How the hell can I give this guy more than minimum price when he's out here getting manicures, pedicures? The guy's legs are about as white as a ghost, about as white as Dan Bach's head. The dude is allergic to the sun. Thank God this game is indoors or we would be in trouble here. So too many manicures, too many pedicures here. So all the windmills, all the giblets don't mean anything here with Tony. Probably should have played some college basketball, but too many ding-dongs, too many trips to Chick-fil-A here. And I did dig up some stats here on Tony. Back in 2001, we're talking about 20 years ago, did have a nice season. 71% shooting there, scored 39 points in a game. He was any good, might have hit 40 in that game, but 39 points, Tony, that's impressive. Don't think you're going to do it here, but good value on Tony. Minimum price, too much talking. I think he throws the game. Too worried about his giblets here. Got to bet with JSU. So, my gut feeling, Tony's throwing this game. I'm not paying more than minimum price for him, and he does not win the RG Basketball Challenge. Speaking of JSU, he is our next play here. Most expensive play we're going to roll with here in the six-pack. Now, I don't normally take guys that are...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final bankroll builder of the 2019-2020 NFL season. We're going to be talking Showdown, talking some Super Bowl, but also the biggest game happening this weekend, the RotoGrinders pickup basketball game. Haven't been able to do full Swolecast these past few weeks, so I thought, why don't we get a two-man Swolecast crew going here? I am joined, of course, by MrTuttle05. How you doing, Tuttle?
I'm doing well. I mean, Kitchen's on the other side now anyway. We can't have him and David. Like, imagine Davis trying to play basketball.
I thought for a second when they were figuring out how the game was going to work that if it was going to be 3-on-3, we could get a Swolecast 3-on-3 going, an all Swolecast team, but that's not how it broke.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking we would have same as you, have a shot at a Swolecast team, but it didn't happen.
Yep. So, if you guys aren't paying attention, there is this basketball game going on. Tuttle and I were drafted by Big T. I think Tuttle was grossly undervalued in that draft, slipping to the third round. I heard you've been playing with a big chip on your shoulder, and I definitely think you have a case.
Yeah, huge chip on the shoulder. I mean, it's not like I'm any good at basketball, but still, I can make it up and down the court. Which, I mean, so there are some people drafted, earlier on that I don't know if they can even do that.
I know. Oh, I just realized I forgot to tweet this out. So I'm going to multitask a little bit and bump this. So our team, who we got Big T, me, Kirkwood, Tuttle, our producer, D-Train on here. Right. And then I feel like I'm forgetting some guys he drafted but aren't necessarily going to play.
Chop. We got Chop. And then Mangone, and we drafted Hoop. He wasted a pick on Hoop, who's not going to show up.
Do you got a scouting report on Chop? Any ideas?
I don't. I feel like he might have the old man strength. I don't know, though. I don't have a huge scouting report on it.
Yeah. So I feel very good about our team, but as you've been seeing today, Dan, our captain is out of control right now, okay? He's en route to Nashville, theoretically driving, 65, 70 miles per hour down the highway. He apparently has gotten like 3 Honda Sonatas worth of action down on the Niners. He's posting screen grabs from his high school championship newspaper write-ups. He's in the RotoGrinders Slack. He's saying he's going to play basketball tomorrow when we have all
he's doing too much.
What is his deal right now, Tuttle? I'm concerned.
It's too much. I mean, we see DB. I mean, granted, he's not as old as DB, but DB was already out there and tore a calf muscle.
Yeah.
We see Roth threw his back out. I mean, he's tempting fate. Big T is tempting fate for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what he's thinking. I hadn't heard about who is he playing basketball with tomorrow.
I think him and JSU, who I haven't seen play, are playing for a grand.
Oh, they're playing one-on-one?
Yeah, they're playing one-on-one for a grand, I heard.
Goodness. See, I was starting to train for this mile prop bet I was going to do with Big T. And then I had two issues. One, I was training at a track and there was 6 inches of snow. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing right now? And then also all this basketball stuff caught steam. And I see Big Tuttle has filled that void playing someone 1.5 feet his size one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean he would just back him up, or should back him up the whole game. I would. What was your bet? You were going to give him like 2 laps on a mile or something.
What I wanted to do was find a way where it could turn into more of a race, where whatever I needed to spot him for our difference, like where we could theoretically start and finish around the same time. Because how funny would it be if I'm trying to like come around the turn and chase Big T down with 200 meters left?
Dude, so you were going to give him a half mile then, right?
Well, I never got like an honest answer from him on what he could run. And I just felt there was way more risk. I was willing to do the bet for just me sub 6, but once he included his time, I'm like,
yeah, you don't know what, too many variables
capable of. And Big T has that rec basketball energy where I feel like he could play like 100 games in a row and be fine. Just surprisingly, it's inexplicable.
Yep. I mean, Big T was out here posting newspaper screenshots.
I know.
While he's driving to RotoGrinders party, posting newspaper screenshots. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he's more of an athlete than we realize.
Let's hit some of these props up here that there's a prop sheet here. You guys can find this on the RotoGrinders Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, I believe if you just do instagram.com/stories/RotoGrinders, which you can see right here, you can find it in the stories. And then there's a swipe up link. Look at me teaching all you who are, presumably already young people.
Yeah, this is new to me.
So then, yeah, there's a swipe up button here. You click that. You can do it via desktop, and boom, it'll pull up this Google Doc spreadsheet or whatever, Google form. Put in your name, and Devin, what are the winners getting for this? It's free stuff. Sorry, you might not have your audio on. Yeah, it says free stuff Friday, 1 month RG premium, some stuff like that. So yeah, Tuttle and I will run through a couple of these. Tuttle, will Meansy play? Who do you got?
I'm going yes on that. I think he's kind of slow rolling it a bit, but I also think it's a little contingent now on if Roth plays or not. Yeah, I actually think he's more likely to play if Roth plays.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Over under 4.5 guys wearing running shoes. I'm kind of leaning under.
Really?
That's
easy over. That's easy over.
I feel like there's guys going out to buy basketball shoes, but maybe a lot of the guys who aren't chirping in the Slack aren't doing that. Will someone wear pants? I think no is still like minus 500, but you're probably getting some good plus odds.
I'm doing the tights. Yeah, I got to keep the legs warm with DB's terrible scheduling.
Yeah, over under 2.5 headbands worn. We literally know.
He might wear 2 himself.
He would double up, and we would have had Dan DB rocking one. Yeah. I'm on the fence. I have been, when I've been working out, I've been actually not literally using a headband for function, not for style, because I sweat a ton. So I'm not going to tip my hand there.
That'd be 2 on our team by itself, though.
That's true. Over under 1.5 injuries. I mean, we're already at 2 now.
Yeah, we need a ruling on this. Does it start before Sunday?
It says player must be forced out of game. So I'm going to guess.
Okay, so yeah.
In.
I mean, I feel like if you take over that, you're just like a bad person, kind of.
To me, like Big T 3's made. I'm banging the over there at 5.5. Kitchen to me is such a wild card. I know that the dude could play in high school. Good high school player. I have no clue what he's like right now.
Well, now that DB's out, we can just lock Kitchen down, right? That's the move on that team.
Yeah. I mean, are you going to let me box in one Kitchen?
You just don't let him get the ball, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Over under 3.5 Roth missed threes. I mean, so some of these are looking. This one's good. Over under 2.5 JSU shots blocked.
I haven't seen him play. Have you?
No.
I don't have any tape on him.
No.
I mean, he impressed last year, supposedly. I didn't make it out last year, but supposedly he tore it up last year.
Yeah. Over under 0.5. Overzet TikToks created. Can't tip my hand there.
I got a TikTok account too, just for this event.
That's true. You guys got to follow. What's your handle on TikTok? We'll allow the plug.
I mean, my video almost has as many likes or views as your top one. I'm not gonna brag about it or anything. At MrTuttle05.
Here's the thing. My TikTok audience, I create content on TikTok that's only appreciated by people on Twitter. That's kind of the
that's the problem
we're dealing with here. Most total points, Gary, Crane, and Brian.
Most total. Who's Brian? Do I know Brian?
What
Gary's the real old guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Brian Cruisin.
Okay.
I don't know on that. I'll take Brian on that.
Yeah. Some of these are good. Total points, Head Chopper versus JJ Dunkel. That one I feel is a good
he's talking a lot. He's talking a lot of crap in our chat.
Yeah. I could see Dunkel being able to get a nice little mismatch in the post. He seems like he could.
He seems all right.
Will there be an undefeated team? I'm taking.
Oh, easy, yeah.
Big T, yeah, here. Championship winner worth 2 points. I mean, come on, guys. If you're not banging, I mean, the thing that stinks is we could have at least built up a little drama without these injuries.
Yep.
But I just don't know how we get there now.
Okay, so there's the easiest question ever on this prop sheet. Will there be a successful dunk?
Okay.
Is there a single person that has the capability? Can you dunk? Can you throw down?
I can dunk a ping pong ball. Like I can get my hands here, but I mean I can't palm and get a full thing.
My peak was sophomore year of high school. I could get a volleyball down, and it's all been downhill from there.
That's good for your height. That's very good.
Yeah, that was when I was like peak shape, and it's nowhere near peak shape anymore.
There's been a lot of information thrown out in the Slack channel. One of the biggest ones that like Cardi doesn't strike me as someone that does like an elaborate bit. Are you buying that he used to be able to dunk?
He's a little lanky, so I actually wouldn't be all that surprised. Yeah. Cardi's if you have never met Cardi in person, he's a lot lankier than you would expect.
Yeah. All right. The chat's already getting bored with us talking about this pickup game, but yeah, check out the prop sheet on the Instagram and you can win free stuff. I think we just gave you a lot of good insight into how to make your picks. Tuttle, you have told me that you aren't as of now planning on max entering Showdown. Are you just going light in general? You're not feeling this? Where are you coming out with this Super Bowl?
Yeah, just gonna enjoy it in general. I think I'll play a little bit, but overall probably be pretty light. Definitely not grinding it as much as some of these guys, like Big T out there with a $76,000 Stake Kings package. Not me. That's not gonna be me. That's for sure. I've looked it over, and we were talking a little bit about it before the show. There's not a whole lot of angles to shoot on DraftKings that haven't already been like beaten to death. And on FanDuel, I really think the only angle you can shoot is basically leave like $4,000 on the table if you're multi-entering. I think that's really the only move on FanDuel. But yeah, I don't know. It's not all that interesting just because of the pricing, I don't think.
FanDuel is such, my only FanDuel I'm playing is the free roll that RotoGrinders has for the Super Bowl party. So I went to, make my line. It's like the most uninteresting format ever. I couldn't get excited even making my free roll lineup.
You'll win a grand. I spent a couple minutes on that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that just stinks is like, I was trying to, I feel like on FanDuel, some of the chalk lineups are so obvious. And then I'm like, oh, well, I can differentiate it with the captain. I'm like, but when you don't have to pay up for the captain, I'm like, can I really justify putting in Kittle over Mahomes? Like, it just feels, I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting format. Like I said, I really think the angle on FanDuel is basically just leave a bunch of salary on the table.
Yeah.
You obviously don't have to do that on our little RotoGrinders tournament where we have what's it going to be like 50 people in there.
Yeah.
Like smaller tournaments or whatever, you don't have to take that approach. But if you're multi-entering that $9 tournament with $1 million up top, and it's such a top-heavy prize pool, you don't want to split it. So leave 4,000 on the table and basically go from there.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do for my final bankroll challenge, I'm going to max that $3 20 max, and then I'm going to put all of those lineups in the 10 too, because I would never forgive myself if one of those lineups did really well. So I'm going to be in for 260. The three things I've been, batting around in my head, obviously the most important thing is having like a unique or relatively unique lineup. Yep. And to me, it seems like there's three ways to do that. One, like you said, leaving a ton of salary on the table. Two, through player selection. Maybe you're taking a stab on the Blake Bell, the Kyle Juszczyk, what have you. And three, getting off of like the really obvious scripts, which is like shootout script or Chiefs early lead with 49ers in catch-up mode. Maybe you do, a couple kickers, couple defense, kind of like last year's. Are there any other ways that you can think of to get unique? And then of those kind of three types, what would you be prioritizing the most, if not all of them?
Yeah, I guess the if you think you could do the San Francisco kind of just controls the heck out of the clock type of thing, kind of like they did against Green Bay. It's not going to be nearly that successful. But if you go that route, I think it'd be interesting to – it sucks doing it. I even hate talking about it, but like playing two San Francisco running backs together. Yeah. There is a scenario where Coleman and Mostert combine for 20 carries or so, 20 to 25. And if that's the case, it's possible both are in, the game win or the winning overall lineup, but it's ugly. I think there are some – you'll have to – I think that is the preferred approach, though, is kind of going across or going away from the optimal build. I think it's on DraftKings, because of the pricing, I think it's pretty obvious that kind of the build is going to be including like a George Kittle, a Jimmy Garoppolo, just because they're so cheap. Yeah. I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to be in the most normal builds just because he's so expensive. So I think just finding guys outside of the normal build patterns are going to be kind of the guys that you want to go overweight on. So Tyreek Hill is the guy that's the leading candidate for me in terms of if you're trying to get, unique lineup construction, I think.
Yeah. We got Yes Man in the chat wondering where everyone's at. You cowards, no more lurking. Reveal yourself in the chat if you are there. Where are you leaning on the Tevin Coleman thing? Do you think he's going to go?
Yeah, he was a full participant today, supposedly. Nobody on the injury report anymore.
I was kind of hoping he wouldn't go, and then I feel like Breida would have been a really nice play with everyone just thinking, oh, he got benched, he hasn't played at all. But it was like he got benched, and then the other game or last game when Coleman got hurt, like they were planning on just Mostert and Coleman. So then they just used Mostert because they hadn't worked with Breida at all that week. Yep. Whereas I would have thought leading up to the Super Bowl, Breida would be getting more touches in practice with Coleman doubtful, but it sounds like that theory is out the window.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing too, with that kind of, the running backs it's so unpredictable. Like he's going to play the hot hand. Shanahan's going to play the hot hand. And that was kind of the angle we could take earlier in the season, but even earlier in the tournament or the playoffs. That's the word I'm looking for. Even earlier in the playoffs, like there was leverage to be found with Tevin Coleman. But then after the Tevin Coleman explosion game, DraftKings did such a bad job pricing that Mostert was only 4,300 on that main slate. And they've fluctuated pricing a little bit too much that there's really no good angles to take still really with these running backs. Like if Breida would have been – if they would have been without Coleman, you could have, possibly taken some shots at Breida. And honestly, that might still potentially be the move in large tournaments if you're really wanting to find a lower-owned guy. Yeah. But I don't know. Who are you going to take? There's – no low-owned or no low-priced options in this game to really take. Like Darwin Thompson might get on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because Darwin's if Damian gets banged up for a series, I mean, they're gonna have to give Darwin a couple touches, right?
You would think, and he's obviously playing ahead of Shady McCoy at this point in time. But so here's the prop for you. More touches, Darwin or Breida?
Wow. That's a good one. I will say Breida.
And then but does Darwin have the out for more touches? So is there, I feel like Darwin still has the higher upside path.
Yeah. Yeah. And part of that is, still clutching to those, preseason draft shares of, he was going to be the zero RB league winner. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing, he definitely has more outs. The thing about the 49ers, it's like they've kind of been the Patriots, backfield in the sense where it was always just like, oh, just take the cheapest one, whoever's getting drafted latest, because they shake it around so much. And it does seem like I want to capitalize on that situation of this overconfidence in Mostert right now when we have seen them jerk it around. I mean, maybe It is just going overweight on Tevin is the way to do it.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Going back to Tevin could definitely be just flip-flopping, basically.
Yeah.
Because like we already said, it's going to be the hot hand is basically how they're going to treat it. I think Mostert's going to get the most opportunity at getting or developing that hot hand.
Yeah.
But like we saw, if Tevin gets going, could very easily be him. I do think, and I saw a shout out to Two Hats, Leone. I saw Leone talking about this on Twitter. But I think the best move, if you're not playing DFS, is basically take unders on Mostert props.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the move to best be able to capitalize on that San Francisco running back situation.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one that I didn't mind that was his overall yardage that include receiving. I think it was at like 69 or 70, which didn't seem too bad. Very nice. But that was also, I don't know if Cardi has updated. See, Cardi still has Mostert projected for big time usage. He has him at 98 yards and 14 receiving yards.
Okay.
But I don't know. That was last updated 4 hours ago. Let me see what he has Tevin Coleman
does he have Tevin in there?
Let's see. Okay, that's why he doesn't have Tevin in the pool right now. Cardi's out here working on his vertical lead.
He's dusting off the T-Max.
Yeah, he's out here on Twitter asking for investment advice to talking about he's gearing up for baseball season. Can't even get Tevin Coleman in the player. No, well, there he is right there. Why didn't he show up?
Yeah, I have him for 4 points here.
Oh, here we go.
Is what is showing up in my player pool for the blitz.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, I missed that, but still he still has Mostert at, 105 total yards, which smashes what you can get for that at a lot of books.
Right. So what we have Mostert projected for, or he's projecting Mostert for about 75% of the work.
Yeah.
And that seems obviously pretty steep.
Yep.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But it's steep.
It looks like in our bet, Matt Breida, he has at 1.6 rush attempts to Darwin's 0.8.
Okay.
But yeah, is it from your perspective? Let's talk about the captain slot, because that's obviously another one of the few places we can get some leverage. I've been thinking about who are some of these mid-tier guys, thinking about Tevin Coleman, thinking about Emmanuel Sanders, even, it's so gross, but Sammy Watkins, the guys we know have the capability to have a lead or a slate winning game, but are going to be really low owned at captain. Are you interested in getting unique there?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. I mean, if you're going that mid tier, yeah. It's interesting just because I really if you're building, I'm so used to just building cash lineups or 3-man lineups for these things. Yeah. And if you're doing that, I just think the such easily optimal lineup construction in those is going either Kittle or Jimmy G at captain. And so I think a lot of builds will start with that. The second most popular, possibly the most popular in tournaments, though, are just going to be people smashing in Patrick Mahomes as the captain. And that's what we have projected for for ownership, or Jamino ran that by me a little bit earlier this week. We had Mahomes as the top overall projected captain spot, which it's going to happen, but that's allocating so much salary. The guy that I think, or the guys I should say that I think that are not going to see a ton of captain ownership, but I think are decent options, would be like a Deebo Samuel and then Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
I much prefer Deebo if you can make it happen, but it's not very easy. You still have to sacrifice some stuff. But if you go Emmanuel Sanders, you can pretty much build an all-star lineup with the rest of your lineup if you go with Manny Sanders at captain.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one. My current 20 build, I have 5 Sanders captains, 5 Deebo captains, 5 Sammy Watkins captains, and 5 Jimmy G captains, of just trying to get on a unique construction away from, the standard.
Yeah, and Jimmy G, I think Jimmy G will be popular for those that utilize projections and projection sources to optimize their lineups, but I don't think he's going to be a very popular casual selection at captain, just because of what happened last game and kind of recent memory. He hasn't had very many spiked performances, so I don't think Jimmy G is going to be all that popular in terms of like casual captain ownership.
Yeah,
but I do think he'll be fairly popular with those people using projections.
And I mean, if you're running out a Mahomes captain in like the big $10, actually, let me quickly plug. I got a Showdown league here for viewers. Looks like we have 14 spots left. I am going to post this in the chat right now if you guys want to come. $10, 50 people. For the big $1 million one, if Mahomes is your captain, I mean, you really have to make an avenue where you get unique, where maybe you're fading both Tyreek and Kelsey, or you're using both Hardman and DeMarcus Wright. Like, you can't use him and expect to be non-duped with even one of Kelsey or Hill, I have to imagine.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. You have to get unique. And I guess my question is, how unique is Hardman going to be? Because I think he's the pretty obvious – he's the sexy tournament choice. He's my favorite tournament choice. I'm sure we answered expert survey, I think, last week, but he was the first guy that I wrote down his favorite tournament option. He's the candidate that can score a bunch of different ways. He has the upside because of how fast he is. He returns kicks, and he's cheap. He's basically the only cheap option on this slate that you can kind of foresee with an explosive game.
Yeah.
So it does make you wonder how owned he's going to be. I think this will determine on size of tournaments, the price point of those tournaments. I think in higher buy-in stuff, I think Mecole Hardman's actually could be fairly high owned, like maybe in that 30% range.
Yeah, and you were talking about building all-star teams with Sanders at captain.
Yeah.
When you put Hardman at captain, you can do some interesting things there. I almost feel like if you use Hardman, I know it's kind of like a running joke, the double dip with the defense, but if you do go that route with Hardman, I think the way to be unique is using it like with the defense and maybe Damian Williams, and actually not with Mahomes, and hoping that he has like an end around or a kick return or something, because I do think Hardman with Mahomes, because everyone's going to get Mahomes, they're going to get one of Kelsey or Hill, and then they're going to want another pass catcher, and everyone's going to gravitate to Hardman. Yeah,
I actually think that's a good call, is doing it without Mahomes. Again, this is more if you're looking for unique lineup construction. We're not necessarily talking optimal lineup construction here. But if you're looking for the unique construction, Hardman with Damian Williams, I think is actually a pretty interesting approach.
Yeah. Also, if you guys didn't see, Eric Beimford did a Slate IQ article looking at kind of historical trends for these type of games. And I always like looking at that stuff because he talks about, the most optimal allocation for how many Chiefs or how many 49ers you're using in a lineup. And he did it for a couple different script scenarios. He found that at least if you want to play like the game going under, he ended up liking, I believe it was like a 3v3 more, but in the over, he thought the 4v2 and 2v4s had pretty good leverage in the context of a blowout. I think it's so much harder, right? If both teams are massively going off, to have like a 5-1, right?
Yep.
So that's something to think about too, is just the amount of teams you're allocating. I assume, how popular do you think 4 49ers and 2 Chiefs will be? Do you think that can get you unique right off the bat?
Yeah, I think so. And that's kind of the approach we were talking about a little bit earlier. If you think the 49ers, or if you think there's a scenario where the 49ers can control the clock, not necessarily to the extent that they did against Green Bay, but kind of similarly to that, then yeah, that's kind of the lineup construction or the build that can automatically lead you to kind of unique construction.
Yeah. Cobra in the chat, can Mahomes really not be in a winning showdown lineup? The issue isn't him being in a winning showdown lineup. I think we would both agree, or most of us would agree, that he probably will be, but it's that you're going to be splitting that lineup, 250 different ways. And depending how many lineups you're putting in, it's just a bad return on your investment. We're not saying it's a bad play. You probably will be in the winning lineup. It's just, how do you build a lineup that you don't have to split with 500 other people? Right. Let's see. What else was I going to say? What I know, you said you might not be 150ing this one. I've enjoyed lately getting more familiar with kind of like the build rules and stuff in Lineup HQ. And, sometimes they're like intuitive, or, I want to choose between one of Emmanuel Sanders or Debo, or I want to have Max here. But again, on this unique slate with so many people playing, do you think there's merit to almost kind of throwing out some of those more intuitive build rules and just hoping you get on a really funky combination?
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. We've seen it. I mean, Drew B on Twitter, we've seen him dominate showdowns before. And I think he's actually stated, I would have to go back at some of his tweets. I think he's actually stated some of the ones he is most successful in, or some of the showdowns he's most successful in, are the ones that kind of have just a really random scenario, or really random output, just because nobody else is on those builds. And so you're not only are you winning if you land on the right build, but you're also not splitting that prize pool with, hundreds of other people.
Yeah. It is too, we're talking about Hardman. He seems like a guy that, if the Super Bowl was 2 days after the conference championship game, you might have been able to sneak him through, but the hype is just building so much. It's now trying to kind of react. I wonder if on the other side, like the 49ers version of Hardman, not as exciting as a talent, but Kendrick Bourne, I feel like isn't getting quite as much buzz. Do you think there might be some leverage there?
Yeah, I think the thing with Bourne and why he's not getting buzz is just the 49ers. We know they're not going to throw the ball as much. If I think Bourne makes more sense in scenarios where you think the 49ers are playing from behind.
Yeah.
Granted, he has caught touchdown passes recently as well, so he's kind of buoyed himself even without volume alone. But I think the reason why Hardman's getting hype is just because of the offense he's a part of, basically.
Yeah.
And people were slow to catching on before last game, and they're finally catching on that Hardman's snap count is trending up. He's starting to outsnap DeMarcus Robinson, who, he was miserable against 2 games ago. I'm forgetting who, against the Titans. Or that was the last game. He was 2 games ago. He was miserable where he dropped a bunch of passes against the Texans. There we go. A little bit better against the Titans, but still, Mecole Hardman outsnapped DeMarcus Robinson. He's starting to act more as that wide receiver 3. Yeah. So that's kind of why Mecole is getting all that buzz, and I think he's worthy of it, just because you can see him. Like he's got the ability to kind of be utilized in different ways, which is why he's exciting.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on how do you think about correlations with kickers in defense, mainly just like the interplay of, say, those 4, the 2 defenses, 2 kickers? I think the prevailing wisdom is you typically don't want to use the kicker and D from the same team. How do you think about those correlations? Because it does seem like kicker and specifically defense might be another good leverage spot on this slate.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly no matter. I think any way of using a defense basically any combination of using a defense in this game is just going to be counterintuitive, just because the common thought is that these offenses are going to smash. So with defense, I don't think you have to get too crazy. in terms of trying to find kind of unique constructions with your defense.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to see here what we have for ownership projections on defense.
Looks like we got 49ers at 18% and the Chiefs at 21%.
Yeah, and that's typically quite a bit lower than what we do see in these showdowns. We can see some defenses in solid showdown matchups into that 40% range.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you are playing defense, I honestly think that's going to be unique enough where you don't really have to worry about getting the unique kicker correlations there.
Because really what you're hoping for is the pick six or, the strip sack that turns to a touchdown, because that can still get there in a super high scoring game.
Yeah. I mean, well, we saw it. Oh my gosh. Why am I drawing a blank?
Are you going to reference that Rams Chiefs shootout?
No, where did we see it? Well, we saw it in the Pro Bowl.
Oh, I know.
I don't know. Honestly, that might be what I'm thinking. I was thinking my mind is all mixed now that we're out of NFL season. But yeah, we did see it in the Pro Bowl where, I mean, obviously the offense is probably going to actually try to tackle the defense if they get a turnover in this game. But yeah,
right.
we've seen it in high scoring games before. The Pro Bowl is obviously not really a good measure or an example of that, but we've seen it before.
Right. And I think the thing that I could see happening is, where I have pulled up right now, just looking at the descending salaries, and it's not, again, it's like running a race, right? Like you don't have to break a certain time barrier. You just have to beat all the people in the race. And I think a lot of people, Hardman becoming such a sexy name now, people still like DeMarcus, maybe a little boring, but you're looking around here and it's like, could, the Chiefs defense outscore Mecole Hardman? I mean, of course they could. And if you have any leverage there, you're just trying to pick, the one or two guys down here that are going to outscore the rest of these bottom feeders. Yeah.
And I mean, you did the comparison of the Chiefs and Hardman, but like 49ers and Bourne, I think would even be more like, 49ers defense, they can generate pressure. They can definitely, outscore Kendrick Bourne for that same price point.
And I think that's why it's such like a mind trip with these things, because I think we're all naturally gravitate towards these correlations of like, okay, I'm using the defense, which means it's a low scoring game and I have the running backs in there. But I think you can still tell yourself a story, if you will, of, the 49ers getting a pick six and this game still, being a 60-point shootout. All right. Let's see, Tuttle, you want to build a lineup? Actually, no, we need a terrible take. I primed you for this too.
You primed me, but what can my terrible take be? We've already talked about it. Like Mecole Hardman can't be my terrible take, and he's the cheapest guy that I would feel confident playing. I don't feel confident with Matt Breida getting touches. I don't feel confident with Darwin Thompson getting touches.
I was hoping you would come in with the 150 Dante Pettis lineups. Let's go. Just a true old school Tuttle, jamming in the obscure guy. But
I mean, a guy that's going to be on the field, Richie James, baby. Where's your Richie James, San Francisco defense combination?
Well, wait, am I outing oops, he was in my excluded pool. This is bad, Tuttle.
Richie?
Richie.
Oh my gosh.
So what, he's their kick returner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're, if you're thinking, talk about a leverage. That's the double dip no one will have, right? Richie James with the 49ers D.
Pretty much, yeah. Let's see how conference championship game. He 4 on punt return. He had 4 snaps on punt return, 4 on kick return. Yeah, there's your double dip. He lined up out wide twice.
Here we go. This is how you build a lineup. Richie James captain. You go 49ers
gosh.
D. Then you go Mahomes, Tyreek, Damian, Kelsey. Log out.
You can't do the cap. You can't do the captain. He's got what is he the only 200? I haven't even looked that close. Is he the only 200 player that will be on the field though?
That's the thing. I literally didn't know about Daniel Helm, Yelder.
Yelder might be.
Sherman will be on the field, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sherm could vulture a touchdown there. We got Bobby Gomes in the chat. He likes San Francisco Mostert. I think Mostert's kind of interesting in that, to me, this goes back for me of how weird this DFS season has been, where it's Will Fuller stinks for 5 weeks and everyone's on him, or Diggs blows up for a 50 burger. No one plays him the next week because they don't like the matchup. It's like the prevailing thought would be Mostert coming off of this absurd game in the conference championship. Everyone's going to jam him in. And yet I kind of feel like people are just now like, no, they're going to be behind and they're going to have to throw a lot. Like, could Mostert potentially come in under what he should be?
I think partially if he does, it will be driven by price because he's not cheap. So, yeah, I mean, we still have him projected as the 4th highest owned player on the slate.
Yeah.
Still even at his price tag, which I think that could happen. But, yeah, I don't think he's going to be he's not going to be unowned.
Yeah.
Underowned, I guess, would be your definition of underowned. But I don't think I don't think he's going to be underowned to the point where you're going to he's some unique player or anything like that.
Yeah. All right. Yes, man. You see in my account, I have $14.85 left. I do reserve the right to reload again. This is what happened to me, Tuttle. The beginning of the week, I had my, I'm in lineup HQ. I'm looking at my exposures, setting up my build rules. I knew what I was going to play. Locked in. Then I enter the point in the week where, you see something on Twitter, you hear someone, oh, that's interesting. And you start just firing off lineups on your phone, just one-offs. That's when I know I'm in the dangerous portion of the week. And so to your point, yes, man, when this show is over, I will fire off a Ricky James captain team for you.
I just went through it real quick. So if you're looking for somebody that's going to be cheap, that's on the field, your basic options are Blake Bell, the Belldozer.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be actually on the field, and Richie James.
Yep.
Those are pretty much who's going to be on the field. In the conference championship 2 weekends ago, Yelder was only on the field for 2 snaps, did not run a route.
Yeah.
And Sherman was only on the field for 6 snaps.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Richie James, I guess, is he's going to get a touch.
Yeah. And again, I mean, we're talking too, if you're trying to win $1 million here, you can go with the siege logic, right? Like, you can say, let's do some builds where Damian Williams gets hurt in the 4th quarter and we play a lot of Darwin Thompson. I mean, that's probably the kind of logic you're going to need to really
pretty much,
ship it, or Ricky James captain. All right, Tuttle, let's build a lineup here. And let's build it through the framework of trying to win $1 million without going total galaxy brain. I will let you start. You can either jam a flex, you can take the captain. It's to you.
I mean, I'm just gonna go Richie James in the flex.
Okay, I like it.
I'm not gonna captain it, but I'll go flex.
Oh, oops, see, even I just forgot to tab over it. It still put him in there. See, it's just
I'm good on that. I don't think he has quite enough in him to be an optimal captain build.
I mean, he'd have to return 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or his touchdown would have to be like an actual offensive play where he catches a long touchdown or run, gets an end around or something like that.
All right. So if you go Richie James, I will pair him up with the San Francisco D, because imagine if he returns one and we didn't get to double dip, but we would never be able to live with ourselves. So we're already on, I would say we already are covering 2 of our boxes of having off the wall plays to get unique and an off the wall game script. So we're checking a lot of boxes. Is it time to get some chalk in, or what are you thinking?
Well, this build just wants to make me go Mostert captain.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think that's the build here.
Question: why is it there's always ownership projections, but I never see anyone do specifically captain ownership projections? Do we have them?
We have them, yeah.
Is that in my? So I thought, see, but isn't this? It's
not on your HQ though.
Oh, okay. Where are those?
Those are on our projected ownership page.
Okay. Things you learn. Make videos all year for RotoGrinders and didn't know that the captain there. So I just learned something. I will check those out. All right. So we got Mostert. We got Ricky James. We got 49ers. I'm guessing we're done with Niners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we can definitely eat some chalk here. I mean, I guess the question I have to talk through, I'm curious your thoughts. If we are projecting this script, I mean, we can still play Mahomes, right? Because if they get down, say they're down 2 touchdowns, I mean, he's going to throw the ball like 60 times, right?
Yeah, you're basically just, if you're playing 49ers defense, you're basically hoping for a touchdown anyway.
Yeah. All right, so let's jam in Mahomes. That still allows us it doesn't allow us 2 of Hill, Williams, and Kelsey, but you can get one of them, and then you got to probably drop down from there.
You can go
right?
Kelsey and Williams to fill it out, basically.
Oh, you're right. That does fill out. But what do you think? How about this? Looking at this, do you think this lineup is duped?
Do I think it's duped with 100? I mean, there's so many entries. How many entries are there in this thing? 470,000. Yeah, it will be duped.
Oh so
it'll be duped, but
I think I agree with you. But I probably like 2 or 3 dupe, and then if you were to drop down from Kelsey to Williams to anyone else, you're probably not duped.
Yeah, once you're starting to leave the 1,000 on this table,
Richie James with 1,000 left on the table.
The problem is though, you can't. If there was like I'm not dropping down to Sammy. Screw that guy.
Yeah.
Like maybe drop down Mahomes to Tyreek. Then you're not duped.
So you run out, okay, Tyreek, Kelsey, and Williams, and just assume like Mahomes throws 3 interceptions or something.
Or even in this build, if he throws 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns,
yeah,
you're still fine. If those touchdowns are funneled to Tyreek and Kelsey, you're fine.
Yeah.
So this is the ultimate. This lineup is basically the ultimate. San Francisco gets to an early lead. They're milking clock, and Kansas City's able to get yardage but not score lineup. Yeah. Basically.
And see this. I mean, this is the kind of the fun thing about the showdowns is that this lineup you can't. I mean, the Richie James thing is obviously absurd and like a needle in the haystack thing.
Yeah, we don't want to get too aggressive with that.
You don't want to get too aggressive with it, but at least we can pretty confidently look at this lineup and say there is a path that this game script could go, and it won't be duped. I mean, that's like the best you could.
There might be like a 1% chance that it breaks this way, but hey.
Well, and the other thing you could do, and I would say like, you know, if I were going to do this, I would probably cycle through some a couple of these other cheap guys in the Richie James slot, just being like, I kind of like this script with Mostert and 49ers. You know, maybe I throw in a use check, you know, or something there. Or maybe you do go up and you get a Tevin Coleman and you come down from one of these guys or something like that, that double running back you were talking about, just something to get you on a unique script. Yeah, we got Brian Winchester in the chat wanting us to drop down from Kelsey to Hardman. You and everybody else, brother. Yeah, Hardman is
That's
going.
The move there.
What do you think he's going to end up being? What do we have him at right now? Ownership. We have him
27%.
Could you see that being as high as like 35 by Sunday?
Again, I think it just depends on type of contest.
Yeah.
Because I do think like the $10 is going to be so many casuals.
Yeah.
That I don't think his ownership's going to go out of control.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean he's pretty clearly the cheap option where, you know, once you get to higher stakes and guys that aren't just doing this casually, I think he'll be pretty high owned for sure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hopefully we gave you some food for thought. Every time you
Richie James, baby.
Richie James, yeah. Every time you go to put McCole Hardman in a lineup, just slap yourself on the wrist and be like, no. And look, I'm talking with the caveat of if you want to win $1 million by yourself, then McCole Hardman is probably not okay to do it unless you're willing to get really aggressive with a different script. Tuttle, any final words about people as they approach this Super Bowl Sunday?
I got nothing. I mean, if Richie James goes off and scores a touchdown, make sure to add us.
That's right. And if he doesn't, we'll be too drunk to care. Tuttle, what any other final words for this big pickup game going? You know, Team Big T looking strong for now.
Yeah, I think they're gonna regret passing on me the first couple of rounds. I'm coming in with a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah,
and I think we're gonna steamroll pretty easily. So
Yep, I believe there will be some footage. I saw someone asking if there was going to be a live stream. I don't know about that. I think they're going to get some footage. I'm sure there'll be some periscopes. Tuttle is going to be grinding the TikTok streets for sure. And let's see. Oh, one other thing, guys. Sharp Side, they have that app pick contest going. I believe it's after you get 5 correct picks in a row, you start getting paid out on those. I've seen some screenshots of people already in the streaks there. Tuttle, you been grinding any prop bets?
I got my streak up to 3, baby.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, I got the deets here. Yeah, you get paid when your streak gets over 5 for your lock bets. Anything minus 140 or less will get you an active bet there. So definitely check that out. Shout out to our producer, D-Train, a.k.a. a member of Team Big T. We got 3 of our starting 5 right here. I mean, I like this synergy we're building.
I like it.
All right, for Tuttle, for D-Train, for Team Big T, I'm Peter Overzet. Let your lineups tell a story this weekend, guys.